My organization, the National Foreign Trade Council, is a trade association of some 300 American companies, U.S. headquartered companies that are engaged in international trade and investment. One of our activities, as was mentioned earlier, is to sponsor something called USA Engage, which was set up in the late 1990s when our companies became alarmed at the proclivity of Congress to use sanctions as a sort of first resort in responding to public pressure to do something about country X that was behaving badly. So we had a proliferation of sanctions, particularly following the unfortunate experience with South Africa, where there were federal sanctions finally put in place in 1986, but simultaneously and previously there had been a plethora of state and local governments that had sanctioned South Africa by saying, if you want to do business in South Africa, you can't sell to us. You can't buy your goods and services. So there was a kind of template in existence as early as the late 1970s and early 1980s. We begin with the fact that state legislatures are vulnerable institutions to advocacy groups and public opinion that precisely want something done about country X, which is abusing human rights, pursuing weapons of mass destruction, state sponsor of terrorism, you name it, and legislatures not having much foreign policy experience, not having staff, not having the wherewithal to vet these sorts of proposals, frequently pass unconstitutional legislation, put it bluntly. And then we come along and sue them and try to get the legislation off the books. You have a list of 18 divestment sanctions at the state level that are now law in those states, and another 22 that are pending. So this is not a small problem. We view it as a problem. Most of these are constitutional in that they fall within the market participant exception to being able to regulate the behavior of companies and are do not cross the line into unconstitutionality. The big exception is something called AB 1650, in which the California legislature has passed and sent to Governor Schwarzenegger, who has not yet signed it. We've sent him a letter saying, Arnold, you have a bill on your desk that is blatantly unconstitutional, don't sign it. I have every expectation that he will sign it because it deals with Iran, and Iran is a political hot potato. Now, we've long maintained that state government sanctions directed at foreign countries are unconstitutional under the Supremacy Clause and under the Foreign Commerce Clause because the federal government has the exclusive prerogative to conduct foreign policy.